And now it's time for the Ridiculist.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list? You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
Ridiculist, ridiculist, ridic. You
Welcome to the Ridiculist. I'm Sally Brooks.
And I'm Jen O'Neill, and we're back. We are back with more fun lists for you this week.
We're back,
took
baby.
A little break.
Yeah.
A little mental health break, would you say?
Yeah. Fucking sue us.
Yeah, you know. Let's just say
you know
some
what?
things happened over the last week or so that made us feel a type of way.
We were feeling all types of way. We were feeling all the ways, still feeling a bit of a way, but
Yeah.
It turns out world just doesn't stop when I start feeling sad. So
Yeah.
we
It's just
are
funny.
here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the way that different people cope with different things. Like say death, for instance. You know what I mean? It's like some people, you know, a lot of people were going through something, you know, but everybody handles it different ways. A lot of people, like, you know, stayed home from work, couldn't do anything, and then there was like, I was in the school of people that were like, gotta get out immediately and go to yoga and walk this out and try to like work. My brain can't register this. So
yeah, Jen was like,
but then
I did hot yoga, and I was like, yeah, I am still in bed crying. I'll see you in a week.
It's just how I cope with things, is like keep my mind busy so I don't completely shut down. But anyway, we're back, you guys, and we've got some fun lists. Sally, you just got back from Cincinnati. You know how I am with cities and towns, especially ones that start with C. They all sound the same to me, but this was Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yes, you've been there with me. We've been there together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this was Cincinnati. I went for the Cincinnati Books by the Banks Festival, which was awesome, actually. It was it's a book festival that's held, I think they've been doing it lots of years, but this was the first year that it was held in like the downtown Cincinnati library, which has been like newly renovated. And we got to do this. I mean, it's huge. It's a, you know, two city streets worth of library. It's huge.
Cool.
Or 2 city blocks worth of library is what I meant to say. And so the night before, we got to all the authors got a tour of the building. And it was like one of the coolest things I've done. Like, they had all these rare books that they showed us. They had we got to go like down in the stacks and like see all like how they sort things, which I didn't even know I was going to be interested in. And it was very cool. And then on the day of, it was great. A lot of like friends came out, and my family, and our friend John Bunyan.
Cool.
Did an author talk. He was the Jen for that author talk.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was just it was really great to see a lot of people, and it was a fun day. And yeah, so I'm back. That was my last book tour stop for this year. And
wow.
Boy, when I tell you that I'm so happy to like just be home for a little bit and stare in a corner, I think.
Yeah. It's like we always like dream about traveling like as much as possible all the time. But then after like the third trip, you're like, I just want to not have any trips planned and be home and settle in. Yeah, I get it.
You just want to be under my bed. Yeah, not have all of that. Like not even the anticipation of it. I mean, you know, I was like really kind of dreading this trip, and it ended up being great. But, you know, that's part of my process, Jen, is just to, anxiety, and then be like, oh my God, but actually it was fine.
I know. I get it. Well, It's just like as a mother, it's hard to not have it's to-do lists are anxiety inducing. So it's not even like, oh, this thing is going to be fun or it's not going to be fun. It's just another thing on your list. So you're just thinking of like, and then when you have to go to another city, that ends up being 30 things on your list. So it's just a matter of like checking all the boxes off. Doesn't mean it's not going to be fun, but
no, and it was just like a very busy trip. Like it was, I was like I'm exhausted. But I'm happy to be back and I'm glad I went. It was a really great trip. I sold out of all my books, which was awesome. So I met you there and you bought a book, thank you so much.
Give it back.
Yeah, give it.
No, just kidding.
Stop touching my stuff.
She needs more books.
I need those books back. But yeah, it was great. How was your weekend?
It was good. What did I do? Oh, I worked at my new job, my new wine job, which is I just work in a wine retail shop part-time and I love it. It's lovely. It's like, oh, I just have to sit here and talk about wine and move bottles from here to there. And that's it.
That's amazing.
And like nobody's gonna die. Nobody's like house is gonna burn down. Like it's just like, oh, okay. So just ring you up now. Great.
I feel like
lovely day.
You are a woman in a romance novel now. Like this is the job. You are like working in a wine store. You have this lovely idyllic job.
This is when it's all going to start for me, for sure. Oh man. So that's pretty much what I did. And hung out with my kids some.
Those guys. Well, let's get into our list. Shall we?
We shall.
Okay.
We shall. I'll go first today. My list started. It was inspired by my walk this morning.
Okay.
Because, I like to walk every day and I like my morning walks. Well, I am constantly fed by Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and whatever social media platform I'm on that now that I am middle-aged, I must eat more protein.
Oh my God. I was thinking about that this morning and I'm like, I swear to God, like every Instagram ad is like, hey, here's how I ate 90 grams of protein in 5 bites.
What are
and I'm
you
like,
doing
Jesus.
with your life? Yeah. If you're like you're wrapping steak inside of like a filleted chicken and then using cottage cheese as the sauce, then and like what are you washing even doing with your life? Yeah.
Like washing it down with like 5 raw eggs.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Your bones are going to break, you brittle old lady.
I know. So it's like protein. It's like, I don't want to eat all that protein. So then they're like, all right, well then you got to weights. You must lift weights, add weights into you like every day. So I bought a weighted vest to wear while
yes, you
walking.
did.
And I wore it today. And it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And I ran into all of the dogs that I normally run into, all the neighbors, all the dogs or whatever. And I'm looking like I'm like on a SWAT team or something. And everybody's giving me this look like, what do you do? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm in this like heavy duty, like black military looking weighted vest. And I was just panting and I could barely talk to people. And I felt like as I was standing there talk to him, I was like leaning a little forward. Yeah. And then I would shift the vest and then I'd start hanging a little back. And it wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look. So it made me think of like most embarrassing things that have happened to you while working out. And then I found this list on BuzzFeed. Of course, it's on BuzzFeed. Of course. Compiled by Shannon Rosenberg, which is 20 of the most embarrassing things that happen to people at the gym.
Yes. Oh,
and I thought this would be funny. Yeah. Will I go back out tomorrow with the weighted vest again? I don't know.
How
Maybe
much
I'll put it
weight? How
under.
much weight
It's only
is on it?
16 pounds, but I'm a
It's a
weak
lot.
person. Yeah.
It's a lot. You know what? I wonder if we saw the same thing. There was like, oh God, now I'm like struggling to remember, but it was like a story about somebody was like, oh, there's this woman who she's like the guru of like middle-aged perimenopausal women. And she's like, we have to move in different ways. And so she just like walks around her house in a weighted vest and that helps her and she stays strong in that way. And that's how she's lived to be 110 or whatever. I should get a weighted vest.
I can't help but put my conspiracy hat on sometimes and think maybe this is China just trying to get us to all kill ourselves slowly, more faster is what I mean. Like, yeah, eat more meat, eat more protein, don't stop eating, put on some weight, walk around with it, get up in a ladder with a weighted vest, It's like,
it's the only way to survive if you're over 40.
Like, I know how we'll eviscerate those Americans. High cholesterol and heart disease. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to take a small commercial break and show that I am drinking a Topo Chico.
Yes. Thank you, Louise Sandoval.
Yes. I have been remiss because, I was a little sad about things. And so I forgot to say thank you, but, our former guest, Luis Sandoval, who is the rep at Topo Chico, you guys will remember him from when we did a couple episodes ago, but he sent Jen and I so much Topo Chico.
Oh,
and it's amazing.
It was amazing. My kid, it was like Christmas, like the Topo, my kids are like, there's a Topo Chico truck in our driveway. What is happening? And then all of a sudden people just got out and started like bringing cases up to the front door and like it didn't stop.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. My kids it turned my son who doesn't drink anything but regular water or root beer. Those are the only two drinks that I drink. It turned him into a soda water drinker because he said that it's different. It's in a glass bottle. It's all about presentation. That's what he said.
Yeah, okay.
So he's popping those bottles like 10 a day. So
he'll never run out. He'll never run out. I knew that they were coming. I thought it would be like a case. Yeah. And so I didn't say anything to Ben. And I was like, I was at work when they got delivered and I got home and Ben was like, hey, do you want to tell me anything? And I was like, what? And he was like, did you order something? And I was like, no. And I walk in and there's just like a huge pile of like 6 cases of Topo Chico. And I was like, oh my God.
I know.
So Louise, thank you so much. You made, I shared them with some friends who were so excited, like could not be more excited. They were like, this is my treat to myself. And I was like, now I felt like, I see why he does it because it makes people so happy.
Yeah. And thank you for making my refrigerator look like an MTV Cribs refrigerator circa 1998.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you again, Luis Sandoval, for the amazing Topo Chico. He's a local hero. No wonder he is Atlanta's favorite celebrity.
I mean, second favorite after you, obviously.
Right. That's right. I did win the title. Mm-hmm. All right. So these are 20 of the most embarrassing things that have happened to people at the gym. Can you think of anything embarrassing that's happened to you? I mean, I could think of a couple. Like I've definitely had like accidentally like my arm hit the wire to my phone and then all of a sudden it started playing like gangster rap.
Like that. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't think of anything, but I'm like, but that is a thing that has happened like, I mean, constantly, like until I got, AirPods, but like, yes, that I used to be like a real gym rat kind of gal. And yeah, I just
definitely tripped on a treadmill once or twice in my day.
Tripped on treadmills, like, did the thing where you like do weights too heavy and then you're like right back up.
You're like, You elliptical a little too fast and then you can't quite catch up and you're like,
Yeah.
what have I done? Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. I've done all those things.
Well, let's see what these other people say. I wonder if any of these have happened. I was like, I go ahead and say with confidence that the first one has never happened to me. It says, I was doing leg stretches and my penis and testicles popped out of my shorts. That is embarrassing.
Yeah, that's means your shorts are too short.
I agree.
That's what that means.
I agree. This says, I was lifting a dumbbell above my head and my shoulder just gave out. So my arm swung down with the dumbbell and whacked me straight in the lady parts. Needless to say, I started feeling faint, and a nice guy who worked there helped me out and gave me an ice pack. He kept asking if I was sore anywhere else. God. This one says, one time I was in a yoga class and we were in downward dog and I went to burp, but instead of burping, I threw up. But
oh God,
man, as someone who deals with acid reflux, I could totally see that happening to me, but I hope it never does. But because I didn't want to be gross, I tried to hold it in because I was upside down and it just came out of my nose in green gloves and it burned really bad and got all over my mat. I'm pretty sure like 7 people saw. Oh my God, I want to throw up just like reading that.
That's like the most horrifying. Like that's awful.
It doesn't stop. That was a gift that kept giving.
That's reminds me of when I've told this story on the podcast before, or maybe our other podcast, where Max was like threw up in the car, but he put his hand in front of his mouth and basically it became like a spray nozzle because he
God.
Yeah. Sorry.
I can't with pukes. I don't like puking. I don't like poop.
I know.
Okay. This one says, I wasn't sure how to use the moving stairs, so I climbed up and just pressed start. Turns out the person before hadn't stopped the machine and just pressed pause. Cue me suddenly faced with the stairs moving at high speed and me frantically trying to hold on. It ended with holding onto the rails for dear life while my body was being battered on the stairs. In the end, I had to let go and fell into a heap at the bottom. Oh, I would have done that.
Yeah.
For a second.
Yeah, I was going to say that I would not have been like holding
abandon.
Yeah.
Abort mission. Okay. Oh man. This one says, I always knew the towels at my gym were small, but I didn't realize how small until I locked my keys to my locker. Oh, I locked the keys to my lock inside my locker before taking a shower. No one else was in the locker room, so I had to walk through the gym soaking wet in a towel that barely covered the essentials. Oh man. I would just sit there and wait for someone to come in.
Yes, I would just I'd be like, you
cancel.
Somebody has to help me.
Yeah.
Like this is somehow going to resolve itself, and I'm just gonna let the universe figure it out.
I would just sweat it out in the steam room.
Yeah.
I was doing a yoga class through my gym and the instructor started leading us through some difficult moves. I have bad knees and wasn't able to follow, so I waited in child's pose for her to finish. After a couple of minutes, I looked around and almost everyone was in a child's pose. The instructor decided that we should skip the difficult poses while giving me a dirty look. I didn't mean to start a mutiny. What the hell? The whole point of yoga, that's the best part of yoga. Everything is a light suggestion. Yeah. You don't have to do anything.
Like I've always been in yoga classes where like somebody's in child's pose most of the time. And it's like, great, choose your choice. Yeah. And I was like, if you feel moved today, do it or go to turkey or go to sleep. Take a little nap.
Yeah, that instructor should be fired. Okay.
Yeah.
Working out commando in leggings feels awesome. That's why. That's what I was doing for a while until I split my leggings wide open during a set of squats. I didn't even know. I was with my personal trainer. When I got home, I saw the hole between my legs. I imitated some stretching to see if it were possible for my junk to not be exposed. Nope, all out there, never going commando again. That was a terrible idea.
Well, I think that there are a lot of people that
That go
just wear
commando?
leggings and commando with leggings. Yes.
Oh
I
God.
Yeah, I know. I
would never. I know. I learned, like, I mean, I wasn't commando, but my very first brush with embarrassing leggings rips was when I was like at a ice skating rink party when I was like 10 years old or something, and as soon as I stepped onto the ice I fell backwards, ripped my pants, and then I just had split leggings the entire, and it was one of those things where like it was the rink was like 45 minutes from our house, and the one mom drove everybody, so I just had to sit there and like wait.
You're like, somebody give me your jacket.
I was shoe shopping. This is like 6 months ago. I was shoe shopping, and the front part of the crotch of my Madewell jeans, I will say, give it to Madewell. They do fix it for free.
Yeah.
It ripped. And if I didn't have a shopping bag to strategically place in front of my crotch,
you were like a lady on like a pregnant lady on a TV show. You just
totally.
Had a big tote.
Yeah. This one says, me and my friend were at the gym doing alternating sit-ups while throwing a heavy ass exercise ball between us.
That's a recipe for that's gonna end poorly.
I know. 2 really cute gym instructors walked by, and I turned to smile at them. Needless to say, I wasn't looking, and the ball hit me straight in the face, knocking me out. I came to with a bloody nose to see both guys laughing their asses off. Oh man.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to eat on that. Like they're going to like love that story for forever, because no matter what they look like, if they were cute or not cute, if they were like cute girls, like smiling and got hit in the face with the ball. Oh, yeah. They're going to live that story for the rest of their lives.
That's their party story. That's the story they tell at parties. Yeah.
Exactly. I ran for about 2 hours without stopping. When I did slow down, my legs were cramped so badly that I couldn't walk. So an extremely attractive trainer had to carry me bridal style back to my apartment, where my dog ran forward to greet us with my underwear in his mouth. FML.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. That's so funny. So where did you just find this trainer? 2 hours around your house? I guess, did he make you? Was he running with you?
Right?
Just wondering. This one said, I thought I had plugged my iPod into the dock on the elliptical machine and was rocking out to Hey Girl, parody of Bonjour from Beauty and the Beast. And the song was 3/4 over before someone came over and told me the whole gym could hear it.
Oh God.
I don't know what song that is.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
But what's
Here
Hey
goes
Girl?
a baker with her days like
I know
flowers.
that song, but what is Hey Girl, the parody of Bonjour?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just imagine that it's got to be something like that, right?
I was
like, Jen, do you not know Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, of course I do. I don't really do it as much anymore, but I did have a moment where I was like really into listening to YouTube tarot card readings. Okay. So it's like whatever your sign is, you can Google like Gemini tarot card readings or whatever. Yeah. And I had a job. I won't say which one it was, but it was an office job, and it was painfully boring because they made you clock in and clock out. Yeah. Like, meaning you had to be there all of those hours. And it's like, there's a million things I could be doing job wise. Right. Let me out of here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But for some reason, they just wanted you to be there. And so I entertained myself by like listening to stuff like that on my, earbuds or whatever. And I didn't realize that, I guess the way that I had them sitting in my ear and I had the volume up real loud, and I'm like partially deaf anyways, everyone was like, we could hear those. It's like, so what do you think about, Mercury being in retrograde?
You're like, so, yeah, I was playing that at you
Yeah.
That was
Your
for
job
you.
sucked. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. On my way out of the gym, I saw a door that looked like it was open, so I proceeded to go through. Turns out it was a wall. Yeah, everyone watched me walk into a glass wall. Oh, man.
Yeah, they'll get you. And that I would laugh at that real hard.
Oh, God. This one is my worst nightmare. Okay, this one says, I was cycling my heart out in a standing position, and when I went to sit back down on my seat, I started falling back. The whole seat and I fell hard onto the hardwood floor, but my feet still stuck in the pedal straps. Despite the 80s hairband music blasting, everyone in the class still heard and turned to see what happened. Now I have trust issues with bike seats.
That is what we were talking about when you were talking about getting the clip in.
Yeah,
Things. That's why you can't clip in.
I don't want to clip in.
That's why you cannot clip in.
This one says, when I was walking on the treadmill, I had a wedgie that I couldn't pick because a hot guy was right behind me. I tried to get it out by walking wider, hoping it would somehow work itself out. The hot guy came over and asked if I needed advice on picking out better shoes that would support my insoles better. Nope, just had a wedgie, thank you. Oh my God. That's funny. During my second set on the leg press, I made a very loud grunting effort, and the next thing I knew, the press came slamming down, and I meowed, like literally meowed like a cat. Everyone saw what happened, and it happened, including my crush, because he came up to me and asked if I was okay. Red with embarrassment, I sputtered out a yes, thank you. As my crush helped me off, he said two things. Did you just meow? And your shorts are torn. I had gone to the gym commando. Oh,
that's
that
just
sucks.
You
need
a comedy of errors, you know?
You really need to train your fight or flight reflex to not meow in times of stress.
And also, like, why are these people going to the gym commando? I'm so confused. I feel like that's the last place I want to be commando.
I don't know why this just reminded me. But one of our listeners who goes by Botanical Journey reached out to me. This made me think of this because I'm like, what if she can't help it? What if that is just like comes out of her body as meow? And I know that I have spoken before about how I hate like insanely loud sneezers. Like I feel like it's performative. And but she said that it's not, that she suffers from extreme sneezing, and it's just like a compulsion in her body that she cannot control, and she wishes she didn't sneeze like that, but she does.
Yeah.
So I said I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Now, do I still think there are some people who are totally putting it on? Yes. But maybe I'll take a beat to consider.
Yeah.
The other. Okay. This one says, I was wearing a large pad because I tend to have a heavy flow. I put a gym towel down on the bike I was about to use. Unfortunately, my pad got moved up a little from working out, but I didn't notice until I got up from the stationary bike. The white towel was stained very noticeably with blood. Oof. It's awful.
I mean, I feel like something like that, like not that, but it's like, I don't know. We've just all had period things and we just all had it.
I know. It just happens.
Yeah, it just happens.
This one says, one day I was feeling kind of sick, but I went to yoga anyway because I thought it would help me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
This day, just so you know, stay home.
Yeah, stay home because
other people are there too.
Other people.
This day just so happened to have a really hot guy substitute teacher. So we got into one pose and he came over to help me push my thighs down so it would be a better stretch. But the pressure of him pushing my legs towards the ground made me feel like I was going to throw up. I tried to push the feeling down into a stretch and instead pushed a giant fart right into his face. It was so bad I thought I crapped my pants. And that's why you should stay home. And then this very last one, it's very succinct. It just says, I sharted, the end. Oh.
Yeah.
So is the lesson here, don't work out.
Don't work out. I think that we have learned our lesson. Don't work out. If you're going to work out, don't work out sick or commando.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't go anywhere in public. Only work out alone.
Only
the
work
dark.
out
Middle of the night.
in the dark, or if you're walking down your street with a weighted vest. Those are the only ways.
Alone.
Alone, please, preferably. Well, that's a great list, and I'm now like wondering if I should also get a weighted vest. Is what I'm wondering. Okay, so my list this week is from Bored Panda.
Ooh.
And it is compiled by Miguel Mayute and Dominica. No last name.
And Dominica. Oh, so 2 people. Okay.
Yeah. And it is 35 people share the most bizarre situations that they've witnessed that feel like they were scripted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which I love. Okay, so this one says, so this is, I think this is British. So we have some Britishisms, which we always love.
Well, it's funny, like with the fake story, I feel like on TikTok or Instagram or any of those reels that just get sent to you.
Yeah.
Like, I always am like, that looks fake. But then I look to the comments, like, yeah, it's fake.
It's
like,
fake.
I need another commenter to be like, fake. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew it was fake. But it tries, like, I feel like 90% of those videos now are fake.
Yes, because you're like, well, how did you get that camera angle? And how did you know to start filming? And why was a third person filming you ringing up your groceries?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes no sense. It's so stupid.
Yeah. I feel like it would be really odd if, like, you would look at me weird if you came up to talk to me in just like a normal everyday setting and I was filming you. You'd
like, totally.
What the fuck are you doing?
I know.
Why are you stop? Put your camera down, you dumbass. But maybe it's just because we're owed. Okay. Sat down on the tube, and this bloke takes one look at me, whips out an HB, which I think is a pencil.
I thought it was a head bitch. Okay.
He whips out a head
bitch.
And a sketch pad and starts scribbling away, glancing in my direction every few seconds. Whenever I look over, he angles it away from me and avoids eye contact. Every time I look away, he's back on the sketch pad. At Camden Town, he stands up and gets off the train. By now, I'm just staring at him. He steps onto the platform, turns around so that he's looking square into my eyes with the look of absolute seriousness. Just as the doors are about to close, without breaking eye contact, he raises the sketch pad. It's me, stark naked, under a palm tree with an absolutely massive cock.
Oh my God. That is crazy. That sounds like some New York subway shit.
Oh,
right?
Yes, I had that made me think of, I was on the subway. This, like, obviously kind of like, she's like a middle-aged woman, but she has like the crazy look in her eyes. Like, she looks fairly normal, but you kind of know.
Yeah.
So she gets on the subway and she pulls out a digital camera. She took a picture of me. And then she steps back off just as like the doors are closing, and she goes, "Welcome to the internet, bitch." And then the doors closed, God. And that was it. And I was like, "What the fuck just happened? What?"
Oh my God!
Welcome to the internet.
That's so funny. I remember like when I first took Sully on his first trip to New York City. And there was this whole thing where like Milani, my friend Milani was with me. She listens to the podcast too with her son. So it was her and her son and me and Sully. And there was like these like dancers that were like performing in the middle of the street. And they kept like, so we watched them dance. And then they like pulled Sully out into the middle and they insinuated that they were going to jump over Sully's head. Yeah. And then they were like, wait. And then they go and get another person out of the audience. Uh-huh. And then like, you think they're going to jump over both. And then they're like, wait, they pull another. And then they're like,
I'm sure everybody's like, woo, yeah.
Yeah. And then they like ran around with their hats, like, like first tip us first, and they're like, 10s are great, but we love 20s, whatever. So like everybody tips. And then, and they build up all the like the momentum and the hype and excitement, and then they just ran. And when I tell you, me and Milani were crying, we were laughing so hard. Like I didn't care at all that like we lost our money. Like, because
No,
I
it's
think
like
I
a
gave,
perfect
$10.
New York moment.
Yes, and Sully was thrilled. Sully's like, "That's the best New York thing to happen to me." So it's the perfect crime because like we all have a story to tell. It was so funny to us. They earned it. They worked us.
Yeah.
I'll give them $10. And it was just the funniest thing ever. But it was just such one of those like crazy New York moments where you're like, you gotta love it.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, we got had, but you know what? It was worth that $10 for the
Totally.
show and the story.
I do it again. I do it again.
That's amazing. Okay. Down in England for a friend's wedding, all the big hotels were super expensive, so I booked into a B&B. From around dawn, I could hear a quiet voice outside cycling repeatedly through every swear word in the dictionary. I spent the next few hours in and out of sleep trying to make sense of it. When I got packed up and ready to leave, I noticed an apiary. Inside was a parrot who looked me straight in the eye and said, "You fucking bastard." Mystery solved.
That's amazing. I love that.
A foul-mouthed parrot, which so great. Okay.
I mean, what would you even have a parrot for if you weren't teaching it to tell people to fuck off?
Right? Like, I was just gonna say, probably want
wasting your parrot. I know.
I mean, I think you should train your parrot to say things like, just like the body, like don't mind the body or something, something to make people think that like you've committed a crime at some point.
Oh, right. Yeah. The body's in the basement.
Yeah, but thank you. That's a better one. Don't forget the body. I don't, okay. Me and the missus just left the Guinness factory in Dublin, and then a baguette just fell out of the sky, landed right in front of us. A baguette.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Somebody said, sounds like the handiwork of an overconfident seagull. So a bird definitely went for the whole prize and lost it. Poor birdie. Okay. I saw a pelican scoop up a chihuahua in Australia and swallow it. The lead was hanging out of its mouth. Do you want me to not say that
keep
one?
Going, but
okay. The lead was hanging out of its mouth whilst a little old, very Australian lady tried to beat it with her purse. It was very surreal. Oh, that one
didn't something like that happen to Jessica Simpson's multi-poo or something like that?
Did it?
Didn't it get eaten by a hawk or something? Hold on, I gotta take it to the Google.
Take it to the Googs.
I think, didn't she have a dog named Daisy and it got eaten by?
Oh man, I have no idea. But
I
you read her book, right?
So upset for her dog. Yeah, I did. It was snatched by a coyote.
A coyote. I know people like. There's always people on my neighborhood Facebook page who are like, "Hey, please don't let your cats be outdoor cats because we have coyotes in this neighborhood, and we have hawks, and don't leave your small dogs outside like by themselves for too long because there are falcons and hawks." And like it happens. It is very sad. I can't imagine. Yeah. This one says, I legit slipped on a banana peel. When my kid was around 1 year old, we went to my parents' house. My wife and mom were giving him a banana. Peel was on the table and he was waving his arms when he saw me, and somehow he threw the banana peel on the ground from the table. I didn't see it. I was walking past the table to get into the kitchen and slipped on the peel. I fell down exactly how it happens in cartoons.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah. And if that was a TikTok or you'd be like, oh, that's on.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Not real.
Fake.
It's not real. Because why? Why would somebody be filming that? Okay. Was doing some shopping when some lad dressed as a clown zooms past, riding one of them tiny little motorbikes, being chased by about 10 members of staff. He tries to go around the corner and down an aisle, but because he's absolutely canning it, he skids and crashes into a shelf. Then he gets up, runs out, leaving the bike behind. What was nearly as surreal was that most of the other shoppers didn't even seem to notice or care about what happened. People were just stepping through the wreckage casually, taking items off the shelf.
Oh my God.
So great. Another time I was on a pub crawl about 7 or 8 pubs in when we got a really, God, I used to do pub crawls in my 20s and now I'm like, why? That'd be like 2 pubs.
I don't know that I ever did a pub crawl as much
Really?
as like walked from the local to MJQ.
Oh, that was like
And
a
then-
huge thing in college. Like we would get buses and like go from one bar to the next. Like we
Oh,
would,
really?
Yeah, go out into like the local bars in like the towns, not just the college bars, and like 30 sorority girls would show up. And then we would do that at Christmas. We would do like a pub crawl and everybody in like Christmas sweaters. And
Oh,
then you'd have,
wow,
like
no.
even when I was an adult, when I was like, well, in my 20s, so I was an adult,
I just never lived in like a college town. Like I
Yeah.
always just lived in the city. So
Yeah, we used to do it in
but-
Cincinnati. That was
Oh, really?
Yeah, we could just go to the downtown bars and like just run through. Okay, so I was in a pub probably about 7 or 8 pubs in, and we got to a really rough pub. Bloke comes in wearing a pirate hat with a parrot on his shoulder and orders a drink as the parrot repeatedly shouts cunt. Nobody
Oh my
says anything. Must be a regular because nobody even batted an eyelid. Brought my drink, went into the beer garden, spot my mates at a table, and there's a Shetland pony stood next to them.
Oh my God, that place sounds awesome.
Right? I'm like, those people are having a better life than you.
Yeah,
Like, they
totally.
are living in a different reality. Okay, so here's the last one. I came across a guy who was unconscious on the pavement at 2 a.m. While I was poking him, a man comes along with a bottle of wine in his hand, looked like a young professional. He just asked in the calmest voice, "Is he dead?" I said no, and he said, "That's a shame." And I was like, "Do you know him?" And he said no. So I asked him why he wanted him dead, and he responded in the same calm voice, "Because it would be interesting." Then he started saying, "Let's rob him." I was like, "What the fuck? No." He insisted, saying, "There are no cameras. I'll split the money with you 50-50. Honestly, felt like I was an episode of Peep Show. The conclusion of the story is he claimed it was the wine talking. Didn't fully believe him, but okay. But to his credit, he did wait for an ambulance with me.
Sounds like American Psycho. Or
Right?
British
That's
Psycho.
what I was just thinking. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? I would have been like, "No, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for this
Yeah,
ambulance."
like he
Go
sounds
on.
like he'd murder you too. And
Right?
take the
Like maybe
money.
maybe he was responsible for this guy and was like,
Oh, gross.
Well, that is my list.
That is good. That was fun. What a psycho.
What a
Psycho. Awesome. Well, should we get into our list this week?
Let's do it.
Okay. So our list this week were inspired by the fact that I stumbled upon a new podcast. Again, probably direct marketed to me to be like, "You're old. Here's your
Face
soft
it.
surroundings catalog." And it's called My So-Called Middle-Aged Life, which is the name of the podcast. And it was like, it was really great. I listened to a couple episodes and I thought it was
Yeah.
really cool. It's like the first Cheryl Strayed was the guest on the episode that I listened to, and it's just basically talking. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It's
Yeah.
basically just talking about how, like, what life is like, in your 40s and 50s and 60s for women, and how like your life isn't over. You're just starting. There's so much more ahead of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just like, and talking about, perimenopause and menopause and all the weird things that people go through. And I just thought it was really, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
it. And
I
it's like
listened to-
celebrating it.
Yes, I listened to the episode with Cheryl Strayed. I always say Cheryl Strayed, but Ben says Strayed too, so I think I am
Okay.
wrong.
Then maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think Ben
Okay.
says Strayed as well.
Okay.
But we know who we're talking about. But
Reese Witherspoon. That's who we're
Yes,
talking about.
yeah. And I listened to her podcast when she had the Dear Sugars podcast. Like she wrote the column, and then Tiny Beautiful Things was the book that was like based on the column, and then she did it as a podcast for a little while, and I loved listening to her podcast because she just has such good, solid advice. Like she has such a great perspective on things. I loved when the host of the podcast was like, "Have you made it?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, fuck yeah, you never, because I'm like, my instinct is to always be like, no, I don't feel like I've made it. Or, you know what I mean? That I think most people are like, I won't ever feel like that. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to let myself feel like that. And I have. And so why would I not say it? And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. And I loved when she talked about, sorry, now our podcast is just talking about that podcast. But I loved when she talked about how like she's like in her 50s now and she just has this like this urge and she knows that like the next big adventure's on the way.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I'm ready for like the like, you know, there's always some kind of major tower moment or like some like where everything gets all fucked up in your life so that it starts you on the new path of your next big life change and adventure. And she's like, and I'm ready for it, you know? So I love that.
Yeah. I love that too.
Because people can be so terrified of change, and it's like change can be really good. And like, you know, unfortunate things that happen to you, you know, while of course we don't want them to happen to us, they're all parts of life and they set you on different paths and the paths you're supposed to be on. So that was cool. Anyway,
that was cool.
Highly recommend. So that made me, gave me the idea to do a list of, you know, they really celebrate aging. So I thought we should do the top 5 things, best things about getting older and aging.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Okay, good. I guess I'll start.
Okay.
Number 5, going to bed early.
That's also my number 5. Is
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's the best. Like if I don't have shows or whatever, like I want to be I want to be already in the bed by 8, sleep by 9.
Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah.
God willing.
I discovered the like beauty of going to bed early during the pandemic because I think I just spent so many years out at night, like working at night and being up at night. And when I realized how nice it was to just like shut it down at 9, I was like, man,
yeah.
what have I been doing?
Waking up early is awesome. I've always been an early bird, but I love waking up early because you feel like you're just like living on stolen time before everybody else wakes up.
Yeah.
You know? It's the best.
I won't go that far for me, but I will say going to bed early. You are a sleeper. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sleeper inner.
Whenever we travel together, I'm like, are you awake yet? Are you awake yet? Are you awake yet? Text me when you wake up. Text me when you wake up. Are you hungry?
I've been awake for 5 hours. I know. I like my dad and stepmom both get up super early and so I had this huge, you know, I was like really busy the whole time. I was staying with them when I was in Cincinnati, and I was like driving back and forth from their house into Cincinnati, but I wanted to stay with them. But the like last day was like a really, really long day. I didn't get home until, I got in at like 10:30 and went to bed, talked with them and went to bed. And then I think I slept till 8 and I got up and and my stepmom was like, oh, so you slept in, really? And I'm like, it's only 8. Like, it's only 8. She wasn't trying to make me feel like I was like being lazy, but she totally was like, oh, we've been up for 3 hours. We've had our whole day by now.
If I sleep till 8, I'm like, whoa, I must have been exhausted. Okay, so yours is the same.
Yes.
And then number 4, having more money. It's great.
That is great. I don't have that on my list, but I actually,
I'm not, young. While I enjoyed being young and poor, I really did. I always say that too. I always say like, I could live when I was poor and those were the happiest years of my life. It's nice to not like have to live off of a bagel a day with the butter because you can't afford the cream cheese.
Yeah.
That was instant mashed potatoes at the box.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to afford Trader Joe's groceries.
I remember Aaron and and this was like, I must have been just out of law school. So I was like my first time. I mean, I'd had a job before, but this was like, but when I had a job before, I was working for a nonprofit in the city. So I never had any money. And then I went to law school and I had no money. And then I had my first job as a lawyer and I finally had like a little bit of money. And we were somewhere and we were talking about like whether or not we would take the toll road or go like 20 miles out of our way and not. And the toll was like $2. And I was like, I've got this. I got it. I can pay that. And like and then we both were talking about like, man, the like ability to just be like, I can pay for that and not have to be like, can I pay for that? You know, and like, is that, you know, even $2 was like, had to be a thought for a long time, right? Like
I
not
get
having
it.
to think about the cream cheese. So yeah, that is a really nice thing. It is a really nice thing. I'm enjoying it. So this is like a little more serious, but just being like not being in the like heat of the male gaze. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like the years of, it's like once you turn 40-ish, and it's not that like, and I don't mean that like women in their 40s, 50s, 60s beyond are not like gorgeous, and of course like you're attractive to men and all those things, but there is like the heat of the male gaze in your 20s or teens and 20s especially is like both, it feels like both amazing and overwhelming, and once you're out of it you don't realize like how much pressure it is and like how much like it's freeing to not have to think about all the time.
Yeah.
And not, it's like nobody's immune, you know, like I'm not
I would
immune
say
to
that,
it, but
as being like divorced and single again, you do it does suck having to be like, have to consider those things again, like,
right,
you know what, not being in the heat of the male gaze, but just like being having to feel like you have to keep up with your appearance and whatever, and stay desirable. It's like, ugh.
I just want to be under my weighted blanket.
Yeah.
God damn it. Why can't you find that attractive?
I know. Okay. And my number 3 is just finding joy in the little things in life. Like when I was younger, everything always felt like it was in my way of other things, you know, like I remember like being
that's
annoyed.
Such a good way to put it. Yes.
Yeah. Like I just wanted to be with my friends. And like, if, you know, if there was say like, you know, a family meal or something on a Sunday at my parents' house, I was like, oh, I got to do that instead of a brunch and get drunk with my idiot friends. You know what I mean? Like but now it's like, I totally love and appreciate those times where it's like family Sunday meal and like, you know, or just like appreciate things like a hot cup of coffee in the morning. But everything was just in like, everything when you're younger, you feel like you're racing towards something and you don't know what it is. And you think you already need to be there. And everything in between is just in the way of that imaginary thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like that is, you have like put your finger on something that like is so true. It's so true of like,
am I like the voice of our generation?
I don't want to say it because you might get a big head, but yeah, I feel like you might be. like get over Glennon Doyle. Jen's in town.
Gabby Bernstein, give me your email list.
Fuck off, Brene Brown.
This is my new mantra, and I'm gonna make millions of dollars. No, okay. But you know what I mean? And it's like now that I'm older, it's like I can just appreciate those, like, you know, like the glass of wine at the end of the day, or like, you know, the bowl of pasta, and just getting under the weighted blanket, like little things like that. I appreciate them.
Yeah.
You know?
I loved how, not to talk about that podcast again, but I did just listen to it before we recorded. So, but how Cheryl Strayed was like, you know, having success in her, like she wrote wild when she was 43. Like that's when it was published, when she was like 43.
Yeah.
And she was like, having that success then was like more than I ever dreamed of. Like, and it wasn't like, didn't define me as a person. It just was like I was able to enjoy it for like, hey, look, this thing happens. And I feel that so much with like things that happen in my life. I can now just appreciate them for like, oh, I'm so grateful this is happening and it's great, but it's not self-defining. I'm not like being like, oh, I have to have this success and then I have to keep chasing this success of, over and over and over. Because that is like, I spent a lot of time doing that. So
Right.
being
We all
like,
have.
nothing is good enough.
Mhm.
Okay. So am I on number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3 is just being more comfortable in my own skin and not, certainly not to the place where I would love to be and that I wish for all women and young women to be able to be, and maybe people are more, but just like this weekend I was on local television and then I did a talk, and so there were lots of pictures taken of me and people posting pictures, and I looked at those pictures and I was not like, wow, I look amazing in those pictures, but I was like, these pictures represent something that I'm very proud of, and so I was like, I'm just gonna post them and that's fine, and I'm not gonna like, I'm okay that it's not my best angle or whatever. Like I just was like, I feel definitely more okay with that kind of thing. Where I think as before, I probably would be like, oh my God, what are all those people thinking of me?
Yeah, I'm still working on that one.
Yeah.
There's a comedy photographer in the Atlanta scene. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm always like, do you hate me? Why do you keep posting these pictures of me with like 17 chins?
But also that's the difference of that is that like somebody else is just posting random pictures of you and it's like, come on, man.
I know, like I don't have any control over it. Makes I hate it.
I mean, I certainly didn't post the least flattering pictures of myself, which there were a lot. So just know that the ones I posted were my favorite ones, and I still didn't like them that much. But
well, I'm glad you posted them, and I think you look great in them because I hearted them earlier today. My number 2 is being healthier. It's funny because people equate youth with health, but the thing is, I'm way healthier now in my 40s than I was in my 20s. Are you kidding? Like, I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm not out partying every night doing God knows, you know what I mean? And I get up every day and I work out. I exercise 1,000 times more than I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I take better care of myself. Because being a mother, you take care of the things around you. My house is clean, like everything. I'm just like, I'm so much healthier, mental health, physical health, hygiene, everything now in my 40s than I was ever in my youth.
Yeah, I find that like so many women I know are in like the best shape of their lives and are just like thriving in their 40s because they've kind of like figured it out that it's not about aesthetics. It's about like really being the really healthy things. And I think at this age, like you just feel so much better when you are like, we could really get away with a lot, like treating our bodies like shit in our 20s. And now it's like, oh yeah, you can't get away with it. Like I can't even eat cheese, damn it. Without being like, ugh.
I know. And I remember like watching like whenever like some kind of commercial for a makeup product would be like anti-aging. And I'm like, for what? Like then when you're so young, you're like, get that off my TV, anti-aging, who cares? And now I'm like, say what? Like, like now I'm all like, yeah, I'll wear the sunscreen every day. Right? Give me the anti-aging, all the stuff. Yeah.
My number 2 is feeling comfortable with failure and being like, even not welcoming it, but just being like, okay, this is like just another lesson and you can learn from all things. And like knowing, like it takes me much less time to pivot now, to be like, okay, well that didn't work out and great. And like, what can I take from it? And what can I do with it? And is it something that I should like keep going, or should I move on and do something else? Like, and not letting that like failures define me and my own self-image, like I think that is something that would like really crush me when I was younger, of like doing something wrong or not getting something that I wanted or just failing at anything, even like friendships or relationships or any of that. But now I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah.
okay. It
Waiting for
happens.
me. Totally. I love that. And my number one favorite thing about getting older is not giving a fuck.
Same. That's
I
also my
don't
number
give a
one.
fuck about anything. Oh, really? I love that. Yeah, it's like so I just started my new job, and it's a lot of like, wine talk, and it's a lot of you got to put yourself out there and be afraid to say the wrong thing or pronounce something wrong, and that's doing tastings and my boss, who's wonderful, was like, I love that he's like, it's probably because your stand-up career, but he's like, you really just like, you just go for it and you're not afraid to talk to people and you're not afraid. I'm like, because I don't give up, but like I don't care if people don't like me, and I don't care if people are like, you pronounce this wrong, or I don't care if people are like, that girl's stupid. Like, I don't care. You're gonna go walk away and I'll never see you again probably, and that's just like performing every night, so it does have something to do with stand-up, but it's like, I don't think that I would have been able to do stand-up in my early 20s because I cared way too much what people thought about me.
Yes. Yeah. I remember somebody saying, and they don't think this is actually true, but they were like, you can be pretty or you can do stand up. Like, you can like basically, and I think the idea was like, you can care about how you look and how people perceive you, or you can be funny. Like, or you can, and you may be pretty and people perceive you as such, but like, it's not really about looks. It's about like letting people into like the ugly and messy sides of you. And somebody asked me about like, how it felt about like, writing a book, and people like, now are thinking like, how does it feel to be perceived by other people? And I was like, I think I just don't care as much because of stand up probably. And also because I'm in my 40s and I just think like, take me as I am. This is who I am and I can't be anybody else. And that it's like a hard lesson to learn, where you always want to be a people pleaser, and for so long, like I wanted to be what people wanted me to be,
right?
Or what I thought people wanted me to be, and now I'm just like, fuck it.
Yeah, and my friend Anna listens to the podcast. She was wondering what happened to us last week. We had dinner the other night. We were talking with our two friends who are married still and are our age, and then Anna and I are both divorced and dating. And so she was talking about how we were saying how much easier it is actually dating, at our age, because because when you're younger, you date because you're like, you want that, you're dating people wanting them to like you. You want to be chosen.
Yes.
And now that we're our age, now we're like, well, I'm trying to figure out if I'm choosing you. You know what I mean? It's not about like if you like me. And I think that's what I had some problems going straight from, my divorce into dating. I think I still went back to my early 20s mindset of dating, was like,
right, because that's all you knew, right?
Choose me. Yeah. And then like that turned over, through some bad experiences. and then I was just like, no, like, life's,
what
short,
is this?
and it's whether you work for me, like if who you are fits in my life or not, and we have to choose each other rather than just you sit around and wait for a guy to like want to date you.
Well, you just know yourself so much better now, right? Like, who you are, like your value and your worth, and like all of those things that like are just feel very amorphous when you're 20, and like now it's kind of like, well, if you want to date me, like I'm awesome. So like you got to bring something to the party, because otherwise I'm just as happy I have a full life without you.
I'll just make amazing meals for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, eat all
I
of
will
it
just
by
make
myself.
the fun for myself and with my friends. You should be so lucky.
I'll make myself laugh. I'm hilarious. Yeah. So, getting older. It's amazing. Oh wait, did you do your number one?
My number one was also not giving.
Oh, right.
I
that's
said
right,
not giving a
that's
shit
right. We
about
both
what
said-
anybody. Yeah, not giving a shit about anything.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It
It's
really
the
is so
best.
freeing.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, you guys,
Well-
that is our show for today. Thank you so much for listening and for letting us, take some mental health breaks every once in a while because
Yeah.
we need it. And I bet you guys need it too.
We also don't give a fuck.
We also just
I'm
don't
just kidding.
give a shit, which
I'm
is
kidding, I'm
actually
kidding.
the response anytime one of us is like, hey, do you
Like,
care if we don't? Like, I don't give a shit. I don't give
or
a
it's like,
fuck.
sorry, I forgot to post today. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Jen, here's the thing
So-
you have to know about me. I don't give a
I don't
shit.
care.
So thank you so much for listening. We do care about you guys. If you want to get in touch, please do that. We're on the internets everywhere. You could rate and review. You could tell a friend. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Thank you guys so much. And yes, to be clear, we definitely, if there's one thing we do give a fuck about, it's you guys.
Yeah.
And thank you guys and this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. And we'll be back next week with some more fun lists for you.
Ridiculist, ridiculist, ridic. You.